Next week on Days of Our Lives.
Order!
Welcome back to Days of... Today we will learn about the escalating tensions at Salem University Hospital under E.J. DiMera's controversial leadership. In the bustling world of Salem, dissatisfaction is brewing like a storm at University Hospital, where E.J. DiMera has taken the reins in a way that's ruffling feathers across the board. Key figures, including the dedicated Chief of Staff Brady, portrayed by Mary Beth Evans, are voicing strong concerns over his management style, which seems laced with personal vendettas and questionable decisions that could jeopardize patient care and staff morale. As EJ dives deeper into his schemes, whispers of an outright uprising are growing louder, with Kayla positioned as a potential leader in challenging his authority, drawing on her long history of advocating for ethical practices in the medical community. The once harmonious atmosphere at the hospital is turning sour, as EJ's apparent pettiness overshadows any initial promises of stability. Observers speculate that his focus on cost-saving measures might stem from distractions elsewhere, particularly the high-stakes trial of his son Johnny DiMera, acted by Carson Boatman, which has pulled EJ's attention away from day-to-day operations. This trial, centered on serious allegations that could reshape family dynamics, has left EJ vulnerable, potentially leading to missteps that expose cracks in his ability to lead effectively. Adding to the intrigue, invented scenarios and fan discussions imagine EJ juggling late-night strategy sessions for the courtroom while hospital memos pile up unread, amplifying the chaos. Kayla recently confided in her husband Steve Johnson, brought to life by Stephen Nichols, about the ripple effects of EJ's aggressive budget trims, which have left employees anxious about job security and the quality of services provided to vulnerable patients. These cuts aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're impacting real lives, from overworked nurses dealing with reduced supplies to doctors facing outdated equipment that could compromise diagnoses. In one vivid example, staff members have started sharing stories of skipped breaks and makeshift solutions, like using personal funds for basic necessities, highlighting how EJ's policies are straining the very fabric of the hospital's supportive environment. The burning question on everyone's mind is what drives EJ to implement such drastic reductions, especially when the hospital's financial woes seem exacerbated by his choices. If basic amenities like air conditioning are being skimped on during sweltering Salem summers, it raises alarms about the facility's overall viability, potentially leading to closures of essential departments. Meanwhile, characters like Ray Fernandez, played by Galen Gehring, and newcomer Kat Green, portrayed by Annalyn McCord, are piecing together the puzzle of EJ's motives, questioning why he'd invest in a money-losing entity when profits from ventures like Verse 6, a fictional pharmaceutical breakthrough, are projected years away. Their conversations add layers of mystery, with invented plot extensions suggesting hidden alliances or underground dealings that could tie into larger DiMera family schemes. EJ's right-hand operative, Rita, has become a focal point of frustration, implementing changes that feel more like sabotage than savvy business moves. Her decisions, such as switching to inferior coffee brands that leave doctors groggy during long shifts, have sparked informal protests among the staff. Even the cafeteria overhaul, removing nutritious options like fresh produce in favor of processed alternatives, has led to health complaints from employees who rely on these meals during grueling hours. In a particularly tense moment, Chad DiMera, enacted by Billy Flynn, found himself racing against shortened pharmacy hours to secure critical medications, underscoring how these cuts endanger not just convenience but actual well-being. These alterations, while minor on the surface, accumulate into a broader narrative of neglect, with new details emerging about Rita's brusque memos that dismiss staff input entirely. On another front, Kat's role at the hospital adds an element of subterfuge. Although she's employed under Marlena Evans, played by Deidre Hall, her recent absence from shift stems from Marlena's own emotional downturn following the loss of John Black, portrayed by Drake Hodgson. This has given Kat leeway to roam the halls undetected, where she encountered Chad and fabricated a story about administrative tasks for Marlena, all while secretly probing EJ's operations. Her covert activities, perhaps involving rifling through restricted files or eavesdropping on board meetings. Inject suspense, with creative expansions imagining her uncovering encrypted documents that hint at EJ's ulterior motives tied to family rivalries. With Johnny's trial consuming EJ's energy, it appears he's delegated too much power to Rita, allowing her to enforce policies that alienate the workforce and stir resentment. This distraction could prove costly, as murmurs of rebellion gain traction, spearheaded by Kayla, whose disdain for EJ is well documented through years of clashing over ethical boundaries. Kayla's influence is pivotal, especially as she's been instrumental in championing initiatives like the upcoming Tom Horton Free Clinic, a beacon of community care named after her revered grandfather. This project, envisioned as a non-profit haven for underserved residents, represents a counterpoint to EJ's profit-driven approach, potentially drawing talent away from the hospital. The clinic's grand opening, slated for late summer or early fall, promises to be a landmark event, gathering Kayla's family, friends, and professional peers in a celebration of legacy and compassion. Amidst balloons and speeches, questions loom about whether disillusioned doctors will defect from University Hospital, enticed by the clinic's promise of autonomy and patient-focused care free from corporate meddling. Invented elements could include surprise endorsements from returning characters like Jack Devereaux or Jennifer Horton, bolstering the clinic's profile and intensifying the pressure on EJ. As Salem watches, this divide might culminate in a dramatic showdown, where loyalties are tested and the future of healthcare in the town hangs in the balance. Next, we're diving into a whirlwind of emotional highs and crushing lows, as Friday's episode unfolds with shocking encounters, emotional revelations, and decisions that will send shockwaves across Salem. From old flames reigniting old habits to new friendships forged through shared pain, this episode reveals just how messy and magnetic life in Salem can be. Gwen crashes Xander's solo escape the night begins quietly at the bistro, where Xander is indulging in a rare moment of solitude. He's nursing a drink and savoring a quiet dinner alone, a stark contrast to his usual loud, chaotic days. But peace in Salem never lasts long. Gwen Rizek spots him from across the room and, uninvited and unrelenting, slides into the booth opposite him. Her arrival cuts the silence like a knife. Despite Xander's clear protests, Gwen insists on joining him. Her tone is playfully confrontational, masking a layer of vulnerability. "What? You don't want my company anymore?" She teases, only half joking. She reminds him that they used to have fun together, real fun, the kind that involved scheming, secrets, and stealing kisses behind locked doors. But Xander's not biting. He's short-tempered, emotionally drained, and wants nothing more than to be left alone. Gwen tries a different tactic. She mentions that Leo saw them heading into the Salem Inn recently. Was it innocent? Was it more? Xander stiffens. Gwen's clearly pushing buttons, and she knows it. She suggests Sarah probably doesn't care. "You're splitting up anyway, aren't you?" She adds with a hint of sympathy, or maybe mockery. Her tone quickly changes. With bitter honesty, she accuses Xander of always trying to change for Sarah, but never quite succeeding. "You bend yourself backward for her, but it's never enough," Gwen says, voice rising. "I liked you just as you were. Dangerous, exciting, real." The tension explodes. Xander finally tells her it's over. Whatever they were, it's done. Gwen doesn't cry. She laughs bitterly and walks away, leaving Xander with nothing but the echo of his choices. Sarah and Brady. An unexpected connection outside the hospital. Chaos gives way to quiet exhaustion. Sarah Horton stumbles into the plaza, winded from carrying baby Victoria down 6 flights of stairs. A fire drill gone wrong? A faulty elevator? Either way, it's symbolic. She's been carrying the weight of her choices, literally and emotionally, for weeks now. Brady Black happens to be passing by and immediately notices her distress. "You okay?" he asks with genuine concern. Sarah, breathless and defensive, brushes off his worry. She admits she should have asked Xander for help but didn't want to seem weak. Brady, ever the realist, suggests a drink to take the edge off. A mocktail, of course. Parenthood has a way of sobering people up in more ways than one. They settle into a quiet corner of the plaza, drinks in hand. Sarah vents. About Xander. About parenting. About everything. But as she talks, her words soften. She recalls something unexpectedly kind that Xander did recently. A small gesture that reminded her of the man she fell in love with. Brady listens quietly, letting her arrive at her own realization. Co-parenting is brutal. It sucks, he says bluntly, and Sarah agrees. Finding common ground through shared pain as they sip their drinks and swap war stories, the bond between Sarah and Brady deepens. Both have been burned by love, and worse, by love with complicated people. Kristen, Xander, custody battles, betrayal. It's all too familiar. Brady opens up about his own struggles with Kristen and how it affected Rachel. We messed her up, he admits, his voice tinged with regret. But she's okay now. You had a hand in that. Sarah's surprised by his gratitude. He reminds her that she gave Rachel one of the most stable years of her life, a gift more valuable than she realized. The two reflect on the fragile nature of healing. Sarah confides that just months ago, she and Xander were considering having another baby. Their first anniversary as a reunited couple is next week, or would have been. Now it all feels like a dream she's just woken up from. Brady doesn't sugarcoat it. Some people don't get a second chance, he says. You and Xander did. But sometimes, even a second chance isn't enough. A glimpse into what comes next, the episode closes on a powerful note of introspection. Sarah and Brady sit in silence as the evening wind moves through the plaza, each lost in thought. Both are single parents trying to do their best while picking up the pieces of broken relationships. And though their situations differ, the emotional fallout is eerily similar. Xander, now truly alone, stares at the empty seat Gwen left behind. The loneliness is palpable. He isn't the same man he once was. But is he better? Or just lost between who he was and who he tried to become? Gwen, meanwhile, walks away with a smirk masking heartbreak. She tried, in her own twisted way, to remind Xander of who he used to be. Maybe she still loved that version. Maybe she never stopped. But the man who once burned the world down with her now wants peace. And that, to Gwen, is a betrayal far worse than any affair. Final thoughts. Friday's episode peeled back the emotional layers of three complex characters. Xander's identity crisis, Gwen's desperate attempt to recapture the past, and Sarah's evolution from codependent partner to self-aware mother all reflect the messy, real-life decisions people face when love runs out of fuel. Add in Brady's quiet wisdom and unexpected support, and you get a slow-burning hour of television that digs deeper than most. As we head into next week, questions linger. Will Sarah and Xander find a new rhythm as co-parents? Is Brady's connection with Sarah just emotional support, or something more? And is Gwen done causing trouble? Or is this just the beginning of a darker plan? Stay tuned, because in Salem, nothing ever stays buried for long.